Hello guys, good evening everyone. Everyone right here, welcome to our YouTube channel on the coding day session. And here we are starting with day 9. So till day 8, every day we are solving with 2 or 3 coding questions right there. Yes, good evening Shraddha, good evening Sakshi, Akansha, Harsha, Divya, Anuja, Utkarsha, Pranjali. I hope I'm audible and you guys can able to see the screen. Can you please confirm me once? Yes, guys, can you please confirm the screen is visible and am I audible clearly? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, great. Now let us begin with the session today. So in a today's session, we guys are going to check that is the question number 2 problem statement. And in the question number 2, we guys have to understand the logic. That is what the algorithm related to that problem statement. Okay, somewhat like looks like easy but hard to implement kind of problem statement we guys are going to utilize right here on the screen. So again, I'm going to give you the 5 minutes of time to read and to understand the logic of the question. After completion of the time, you guys have to post your logic, whatever you got understand in that chat box, and then we are going to implement that code on his screen right at here. So let us begin with, so here the question number 1 on his screen. You guys please read it and then we will move to the question number 2. Yes, everyone, time's up. Now you can tell me the logic, what you guys have understand. I guess many of you has going to be failed when you guys are going to work with this code. So whenever, like if you are going to read this problem statement, okay, let me explain what are the ways to solve this given problem statement right at here. So the title of these problem statement is rearrange the array alternatively. So we have to rearrange the array alternately, and how that alternated, that is actually mentioned in this problem statement. So what is it exactly? So we have a given a sorted array of positive integer. So that is of clear, the array is storing positive integers value, and that is sorted in nature, whether it's in ascending order or in a descending order, that is what for sure. So our task is to rearrange the array elements alternatively. That means the first element should be the maximum value from that array, and the second element should be the minimum value from the array, and again the third element should be the second maximum, fourth element should be second minimum, and these kind of approach we have to be get followed. And what next we have to do? So here that note makes a very important thing when it comes to the problem statement. What is that note they have mentioned? We have to modify the original array itself, which means we are not going to create a new array for this problem statement. If you're going to create a new array, then with respect to the space complexity, the hidden test cases are getting failed. So do it without using any extra space. So we don't want to return anything from the function or anything from the driver code right at there. So here we have given input, and we are going to understand without using any one more list or one more array, how to solve these kind of questions right there on a screen. So let us check with this. So we have this array where our n is equals to 6, and we have the array with the elements of 1 to 6, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And if you observe the output, okay, here I'm writing the output. The output is first the maximum element. So maximum is 6, then the first minimum, that is 1, then second maximum, that is 5, then second minimum, that is 2. Again we have this third maximum, that is 3, and it must be a 4, right? 4 and then 3. So which means if you guys are observed in that array, we are swapping these elements to these elements. Okay, if you observe them properly, so 6 is going to comes at the first. Okay, which means as we don't want to change an entire array, so what I can do is I can work with the respective I'm going to form elements right at there. So what must be that logic that we guys are going to discuss first, and then to form that second minimum and third minimum and maximum values, we are going to check with that logic right at here, and then we are going to implement a code. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a one variable of index that defines the actual position where we are going and the index is 0, so we can check it for even and odd. So if it is 0, which means it is an even number. So well, it is an even number. So if it is an even number, I will search for the maximum value. What I will search for? The maximum value from the array. So the maximum value is what? 6. Okay, so I got return the maximum value, let us say mx, that is 6. And on this index of the array, I am going to swap that respective index, which means after receiving the value, I require to return the index of that value from the given array. So index in this case is what? So index in this case is 5. So what I'm going to do now, so the array of 0, that is index, and the array of max, that is 5, these two elements I'm going to swap them together. So after swapping, the array will becomes like this. Okay, 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1. Okay, that's fine. Now we have done with the index. Now I'm going to increment the index by plus 1. Now it becomes what? The value of index, it becomes as a 1 again. So we are right now at this position. Now 1 means what? It is an odd number. So if it is an odd number, then what I'm going to do, I'm going to check for minimum value. Okay, let us now check for the minimum value from the array. And if you are going to check a minimum value, well, the minimum value is 1. Now let us go for minimum value, that is 1. And if you find out the index is what? 5. And again, you can swap the indices of these two variables. So current index stored in IDX and the minimum value index stored in 5. So after getting them swap, the array is going to become like this. Okay, 6, 1, 3, 4, 5, 2. Okay, now that's fine. So to get with the first maximum and first minimum, we guys are going to follow with this approach. And right now, again, the index is going to become plus 1. So index right now as plus 1, that becomes as a 2. All right, now we are at this position. So as far as the concern, so 2 means what? A even number, right? So if it is an even number, again, we guys have to check with the maximum value, but not from entire array, the maximum value between these array. Okay, so which means I have to exclude this point. So I'm going to use a the postfix slicings, and there itself I can able to find the maximum from here. And to do that, so here you guys can able to write a code like this. Okay, we can get a maximum from these elements. So it must be like mx equals to the max of these array of, so we are going to use the the postfix slicing starting from these index, that is index. So index colon. So automatically it is going to search the maximum element from this rest of the element. Now the rest of element, the maximum index is what? So maximum element is 5, and you can able to extract the index of this using the index method. So the index of this element is again what? 4. So it is going to stored in 4th index, and the current right now will become 6, 1, that is 5, 4, 3, and 2. Okay, again the value of index is going to become plus 1. So it becomes what? 3. Now 3 means like again odd index. So if it is odd index, then we have to find out the minimum again from these respective value. And minimum from these respective value is 2, and you can able to swap them together very easily. And that is how, without creating a new array, we can able to solve this problem statement to pass all the test cases given in that question right at there. I hope everyone in a call have understand what is the logic that we guys are going to use for this respected problem statement. Yes, guys, everyone write it here. Please confirm quick yes or no. Is that understand? Yes, sir. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. All right. Now let us implement a code with that same implementation on a screen. So as we don't want to create a new array, to the same array, we have to run with the code. So let us do with this. So I'm going to delete this everything. And now let us open the editor. And here I'm going to create a new file. Well, when it comes to the implementation, you guys can see we have to create a function called rearrange, and to this function, this array and size we have to pass. Okay, let us do with this. So let us get back here. So first I am going to input that integer value without any inputting messages. Then we are going to read an array, that is list of map of, with the same line all the data is going to come. So using split and the list of map of, we can able to read the values. Okay, well, I have to define a function. Okay, and to this function I'm going to pass this array and the size of array, and here we don't want to return any value, so we have to print that array in the output like the same. Well, the array is space separated, so first I'm going to print the output. So for element in the array, and the elements are separated or end by the space. Okay, now we have to write a code at here. So well, when it comes to the code, we are going to follow that approach. So first I'm going to check with the index variable. I'm going to set it them to the 0. And now I'm going to iterate over that array. And in this logic, I am required to be works with the index. So instead of working with that for element in array, I should have to write the for I in the range of the array. So let us write a code. So here I'm going to say for I in a range of this n. So where n defines the length of the array. Now, as we have to write a code of swapping, and swapping can combinedly works with all these elements right at there. So we have to be very much sure about this. So let us work with this here. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to check for index is even or odd. Okay, let us check with this. So again, I'm going to check if that index modulus 2 equals to 0, which means if it is even, then very first thing I have to find out the maximum element. Now this is what for max logic, right? So you can find out the maximum element, but on that postfix of the given array starting from index. Okay, and how to do with this? So I'm going to store that max variable in mx, and here I'm going to store the max of this array of this index colon. So using postfix operator, whatever the value of index right at there, we are finding out the maximum element from it. Okay, and then I'm going to retrieve the index of that maximum element using the function called index. So we are going to store that as let us say temp or t equals to the index of these mx. Okay, that array of index of mx. Now we have this t right here, we have the mx right at there, and now we can able to swap them after writing the else block, because you guys can see swapping can be done it very well, like the array of mx comma the array of t equals to array of t comma array of mx. This is how in Python we can able to swap the values. Now let us get back to the else. Else means we have to find here what minimum. Now let us say minimum mn, okay, equals to minimum of, okay, well, I have to increment the value of index also once we done with that swapping. Okay, so here I'm going to say index plus equals to 1. Okay, now when it comes to the minimum, again we can find out the minimum from that postfix of array, and then we can able to get that index. It not must be the mx, guys, because we have to swap the current position, that is idx. Let me change them to the idx. Mx is the value, it's not an index, and mx index store in t. Now I'm going to follow the same approach. So t equals to array of index of mn, and now we can able to swap with the current index, that is array of index comma array of this t equals to array of t comma array of index, and I'm going to increment that index by the plus 1. Now if here you guys can understand, we have these two codes that commonly available in if and commonly available in else. What I'm going to do, instead of writing them right at there into the individual part, I'm going to delete them from their block, and after completion of this if else, I'm going to swap them in that for loop and increment the value of index by the +1. And every time we guys are going to print that array. The data is going to be swapped in between the current position. Now let us try to be works with the given input test cases and let us check what kind of modification that we guys have to be followed with. So here I'm going to save the block as, let us say, TCS coding day 9, and now let us run a code. So our first input as per the given here 6. Okay, so let me get them input 3, 4, 5, 6. And now let us hit an enter. Okay, we forget to call this function, guys. Let us call the function also after defining the function. So here we have this function name rearrange and with the array and n. Now let me rerun them. And again 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now let us hit an enter. So you guys can see we are returning with that swapping. So here the first element, the maximum, are getting swapped by the first index, that is 6, 1. Okay, 6 and 1 as per our problem statement. Now then secondly 1 and 5 are getting swapped. Then again these all elements are getting swapped, and you guys can see we have returns the same output mentioned in the problem statement 615243. Okay, 6152 and 43. Now let us check with the that second question right at there, second sample input, that is 11, and we have this input till 110 starting from 10. Okay, let us rerun the code. So the number n is what, 11, and the values are 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 and 110. And now if you observe the output, okay, 110, 10, 100, 20 up to 50, 60. And that is how it returns in that output also. So in this question, we guys haven't created any other result array. We have swapped the values using the same array, and then we got returned with the code. I hope everyone right here in a call have completely understand what kind of logic that we guys have uses to solve this given coding question right at here. Yes, guys, is that clear with for this problem statement? Please confirm everyone here in a YouTube live or Facebook live through the quick yes or no messages. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, yes, yes. All right, great, great, great. Okay, so these kind of questions are going to ask in a question 2. So you guys have to follow these kind of approaches when in a note they have mentioned these kind of problem statement right there. Now let us get back to the second question on for this session today itself. So this is the second question on the screen. You guys again have to read. I'm going to give you the 5 minutes of time to read the question properly, and then definitely we will get back to the logic and the solution for the same. So you have 5 minutes time to read the question, read it and tell me what is the logic that you guys have understand. All right, now let us do understand this. As of now, no one had shared the answer in Facebook Live and YouTube Live. So let us do understand this. What is this problem statement so far and how we guys are going to solve with them here on a console. So here the problem statement is belongs to your stock buy and sale. This is the title. Okay, what is it mentioned? The cost of stock on each day is given in a array. Okay, and their n defines what? Number of days right there, and we have to find all the segments of the days on which you can buy or sell the stock, so that in between those days we can get the profit. So profit gate means what? Our whenever we are buying a stock and when we are selling a stock, in that case the stock prices must be greater, right? Whatever we are selling, that price must be greater than buying. Okay, and since there can be a multiple solution, so we have to print one depends on that solution, else we have to print zero. And when there is a zero, by default the driver code is going to print no profit, that we don't want to write it in a code. Okay, so let us check with here for the sample test cases one. So we have the n as a 7, that means we have 7 days right at there, and these are the values. So day one stock price is 100, day two is 180, day three is 260, then 310, then again 40, then 535 and 695. And if you observe, the output is 1, which means there may be a possibility of printing that having number of days with that same pattern, where we are at least generating a profit that is in a combination of indices, that is 0 and 3. So let me write with their values here. Okay, 0 and 3, which means 0th index we have 100 and third index we have 3 and 10. Okay, and then we have 4 and 6. So in a fourth index, if you observe 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, so we have 40, and 6 index we have 695. So all these values are there. So what we guys have to do right now is to just start with our array with that given positions, and we have to return these array in that output. And how we are going to write with this code? The code is quite very easy to understand. Okay, but it is somewhat a little bit lengthy process to check with these values properly and do with that process right at there. So as per our problem statement, we have to give us what the maximum profit. And if you observe in the problem statement, in the output statement, we are not printing with this data. If there is one element is going to store, so anyway we have to print 1, or else we have to print 0 right at there. So let us write with this code how to solve with them. So again, for this code, what we guys are going to do is we are going to iterate on that array after inputting the array elements. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to create one index variable, let us say idx, and I'm going to set them to the 0. And instead of, while iterating the array, always we guys are going to use for I in the range function when it comes to the indices, or for element in array when it comes to the values. But in this case, as that iteration may be get possible by dynamic ways, so I'm going to write a while loop, and using the index of the variable that we got created, I'm going to write that loop. So which means I'm going to write a condition as while the index is less than n minus 1. Okay, well, in that while loop, very first thing that I have to do is I have to find out the buy date and the sale day right at there. Okay, buy day can be find out by checking the value of current index of array is greater than the that neighbor index, that is the next index. So if it is, then that index property I'm going to increment by the +1. And let us say there are no any buy date available, so that the value of that current index is always greater than all the elements, then I'm going to break the loop. And that is how I'm going to find out that by day right at there. So what must be the code inside the while loop? I'm not writing the while loop, the parent one, but inside the while loop, I have to write that condition. What is that? The array of our current position, that is index, okay, is greater than or equals to the neighbor index. Okay, neighbor index means what? Array of index plus 1. Okay, if it is, then inside this, I'm going to increment that index by the plus 1 again. And there may be of multiple elements available. So instead of using the if here, I'm going to use the while loop. And after completion of this while, I'm going to check if our index, okay, is equals to n minus 1, which means it is reached at the last point. Well, I don't want to compare with this. I'm going to break that element. Okay, so I don't want to, we don't have any elements rated there which can works with this value. So I'm going to break that point. Okay, and if it is not, then first I'm going to declare with the by day that is stored in the given index right there. So here I'm going to create a variable, let us say by, and this must be to the current index. Now let us check with the real-time values. How does it is going to works? So we have a while loop that is starting from 0 to n minus 1. That's right. So at this index, so index value is 0. So array of 0 right now is what? 100. Now we have to check 100 is greater than or equals to their next element or not. So here, if you guys can understand, the 100, okay, is greater than and equals to the next element. That's right. So index value will become okay, that condition becomes false. 100 is not greater than or equals to 180. So the value of these index will keep remains the same, which means the by day is at 0. That is what for sure. Now we have to find out this sale day. Again, to find out a sale day, I'm going to iterate over the while. So here I'm writing that sale day on my screen. So here I'm going to write. So again, one more while loop we are going to use. And inside this while, I'm going to say the condition that current index value must be less than or equals to the neighbor index. And to do that, so here I'm going to write this array of index, okay, is less than or equals to array of neighbor index. If it is, then what I'm going to do here inside this while, I'm going to increment completion of this while. We are going to define the sale day. So our sale day, let us say in store in sale variable, that is again in index. Now let us check how does it is going to works. So right now we are at 0 because all these conditions are become false. So we are at our 0th position. So it is going to check the current position is less than the plus 1 or not. That is what the neighbor index or not. Yes, the array of index is less than or equals to array of index plus 1. So index will become plus 1. So it gets shifted to the 180 again. So index is right now at this point. So here it is going to check this current index is greater than or equals to neighbor. Yes, that is true. So again, it is going to shift it to at here. And again, it is going to check this current index is less than or equals to the current element of this index or not. Yes, that is true. So again, the index position is got shifted at this point. And at this point, the condition becomes false. So it will get outside the loop. And here, the sale day of that index, that is, what is the index? 0, 1, 2, 3. So that is the index is going to store. So using this while loop, we can able to extract that, buy day and sale day, so that I can increment my result counter by the plus 1 on this given value, or we can able to add them to the result, and then we are going to return that result in the form of list. Now, this is the approach that we guys are going to follow with. I hope everyone here in a call have understand what is the correct logic for these problem statement. So everyone here, please confirm me once, is that understand how we are extracting the sale day and how we guys are extracting the by day using these while. Okay, this is the first one to extract the by day, and this is the second to extract the sale day. Okay, please confirm fast. Is that clear with the implementation? What is the logic that we guys are going to use is? If it is so clear, then we guys are going to start with that implementation. Okay, quick yes or no? Yes, quick yes or no? I hope I'm audible to everyone. Yes, sir. Yes, 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 sir. Clear, clear. All right. Okay. Now let us start with their implementation. Okay. Now to implement this question, we have to follow this while loop format that supports with the dynamic looping iteration. So using while, we guys are going to write with this code. So let us check with this. How does the things are going to be works? So here, very first thing I'm going to do is, let me delete this everyone. All right, so let us get back to the same coding file. So here I'm going to change. So as per my input, again, the n I'm going to read, and that is of integer input. And I'm going to read an array that is list of map of integer with input and split. All right, now as our problem statement belongs to return the data. So as we have multiple data to be get stored, so I'm going to store them to the result list. Okay, so as per the problem statement, we have to works with the index variable. So index equals to 0. Now I'm going to execute a while loop. That is this while loop, the main parent while loop will run when the index value is less than n minus 1. Okay, now the very first thing that we have to do is to extract the by day, and by day condition is what? The current element is greater than or equals to index plus 1. So here I'm going to write that while condition one more time. So while the current element, that is array of index, is greater than or equals to array of index plus 1. So if it is greater, then I'm going to say index is going to increment by the plus 1. And here I'm going to check, in that case, there is a possibility that stock value is always getting down. So here I'm going to check if that index is equals to last index of array, that is n minus 1, or we can write less than or equals to, because we haven't written any particular condition right at there. So I don't want to check next. I'm going to break this loop. If it is not, then I'm going to create my by day that is equals to the current index of that array. Now we have the by day. Now we have to find out the sale day right at there. So sale day must be what condition? The current position of array should be less than or equals to the neighbor. So here I'm writing one more while loop. So array of current position is less than or equals to their neighbor. Neighbor means what? Index plus 1. So if it is, again, index plus equals to 1. And at the last, okay, we will print this value. Okay, first set it to the sale. So sale day equals to index. And now we are going to print this value. Okay, buy and sale, and these value combinedly I'm going to add it to the result in a one format of a list. How to do this? Okay, result dot append of, okay, one more list and having two element. First one is buy and the second one is sale. Okay, before doing the next, okay, I'm going to print that result, and in the output we just wanted to print 1 and 0. Okay, let us do with this. So after completion of the while, I have to print the result. All right. So let me save with this code and let me run with this given input and output. So I'm going to run this code. So n is 7 and the values of array elements right at here is 100, 180, 260, 310. 100, 180, 260, 310. What is next? The next is 40, 535, 695. 40, 535, 695. And you guys can see as per the problem statement, it returns with empty. Let me check. Index is less than this. I guess we are dealing with this breaking the loop, which means one thing I have to add here in a condition. This loop will continuously execute. Now I will tell you what exactly happens by like I'm going to print here the value of index so that you guys can understand on a given problem statement what exactly it is going to happen and what kind of changes we guys have to make it here. So let me rerun them. So this is the 7 and these are the values, and you guys can see it printing as a 0. Why it is printing as a 0? Because the array of current index is always greater than the array index plus that is not greater than array index plus 1, and this index is less than or equals to n minus 1 because 0 is always less than or equals to n minus 1, and that is the reason it is printing. So instead of writing them less than or equals to, I'm going to write equal to equal to. Now let me rerun the code again. So 7, this is P, and again the index getting out of the range while working with the less than or equals to means at here. Well, to do that, so I'm going to add one more condition in this while. What is that condition? This index is always less than n minus 1 and the second operation. And here also same thing I'm going to follow. Index is less than n minus 1 and. All right, now let me rerun. All right, 7. So this is the data. And here in the output, so we received with the mention buy and sell points. So now we can able to print 1 and 0 depends on this result. Okay, instead of printing the result, here I'm going to check if the length of the result is equals to 0. Well, I don't want to print anything. So printing must be of 0, which means we don't have any buy and sale day available. Else I'm going to print 1 as per the problem statement. Now let us rerun the code and let us write that 7 as a size. Then this is the data, and as per this we are getting the output as a 1 that matches to the given test cases. Now let us check with this same code to the sample test case 2, where we have the input as a 5 and these are the array elements. So let me run with this. So 5, and what are the array elements? 4 triple 2 4. Okay, 4 triple 2 4, and definitely here also we have 1 day where we are getting our result done. So we are returning the 1, write it here, and that matches with the given sample explanation also. I hope everyone here in a call have understand what is exact logic to solve this question and how to utilize them with the current given date and time, or with the current mention logic right at here. Yes guys, everyone please confirm. I hope everyone right here have understood it clearly. Yes, quick yes or no. Yes sir, yes, clear sir. Thank you, thank you. Yes sir. Yes, yes. All right. Okay, great. So these are the questions from the today's class that we guys got covered. Tomorrow, that is day 10, we guys are going to check a very important terminology from the data structure that we haven't done in phase 1 and phase 2 training. That is a part of tabulization and memoization. Tabulization and memoization is very important concepts when you have to crack the TCS digital package. TCS digital package will came across for 6 LPA. So from tomorrow onwards, that all implementation of data towards highly data structure we are going to check. So tomorrow again, we guys are going to meet here on 6:30, and we first going to check with that concepts, and then we will try to understand what kind of coding questions are going to ask on each and every concept right in there. So let us meet tomorrow with the same given time. Again, if you are new to our channel, do not forget to subscribe to our channel, and number of students join in the Facebook or in a YouTube. You guys have to like the video, that is mandatory, and tomorrow bring yourself with the alarm, or you can put any kind of reminders to join a session, because tomorrow a very important concept from the data structure, that is stabilization and memoization, we guys are going to be covered with. Everyone, those who have joined and responds me clearly in a chat box, I will be very grateful for this. Again, if you are new to our channel, do not forget to subscribe. Thanks for joining, everyone. We will meet up soon in the next video tutorial tomorrow.